I want to continue our discussion about birds' parenting behaviors. Imagine you're a bird and a predator came near. What would you do? One thing is certain, and that is that you would definitely want to attract as little attention to yourself as possible. The reason being that if the predator doesn't know you're there, it can't eat you. However, some species of birds take a different approach. And in fact, they do quite the opposite. They actually take steps to draw the predator's attention to it. The reason for this behavior is to deter the predator from their nest and away from their babies or eggs. There are many different activities that birds do that are intended to distract predators, and they are referred to as distraction displays. Typically, the bird will try to give the impression of one of two things, one being that it is injured, and the other that it is sick or exhausted. The idea is to convince the predator that it is an easy meal, so it will be drawn away from the nest. The broken wing display is among the most common distraction displays. This is where the bird opens its wing or tail and drags it along the ground, slowly moving in a different direction than the nest. The predator will usually be drawn to this easy meal and away from the nest. A bird will also distract their enemies by pretending to be a mouse or some small animal scurrying along the ground. The purple sandpiper, for example, often engages in this type of distraction display by dragging its wings in such a way to make them look like legs, raising its feathers to appear to be a coat of fur, making a squealing sound, and running along the ground scurrying left and right. From afar, it just looks like a small animal fleeing. This is another way the bird makes itself appear to be an easy meal to the predator. Perhaps most interesting is that birds perform these distraction displays differently at different periods in their offspring's lifespan. When their young reach the age just before they are self-sufficient, the birds will perform their absolute best displays to distract the predator. Whereas, when the birds have just laid eggs, they might not make as much of an effort. This is because they have not made nearly the investment in parenting their eggs as they have by the time their offspring are able to care for themselves. Some baby birds are basically helpless when they hatch, while others are nearly able to care for themselves right after they hatch. For these latter offspring, the parent will put on the most conspicuous display just before the birds hatch. For the babies that are helpless upon hatching, the parent will have saved its top performance until just before the feathers have grown in.